It began not with an engine roar, but with a single word, dropped almost carelessly into a cool-down zone microphone. For Lewis Hamilton, the Hungaroring has always been different from every other circuit on the calendar, a track where 8 victories have been built not from raw data, but from years of accumulated feel. For the first time all season, the SF26 is arriving somewhere it doesn't have to fight its own limitations. It is arriving at the one track built for exactly what it does well. Every lap completed this weekend adds to a story that is still being written in real time. And if you want to stay ahead of the next twist before it happens, this is the moment to become part of it. 500 people standing at the starting line of this channel's own championship push would mean this story keeps getting told with the depth it deserves. It began with 2 sentences. Not a press conference, not a technical briefing, just a microphone thrust in front of Lewis Hamilton in the cool-down zone at Spa, moments after the checkered flag, on a Sky Italia broadcast that nobody expected to become the center of the next fortnight speculation. He didn't shout it. He didn't smile through it. He said it the way a man states a fact he has already confirmed with his own eyes. And that, more than the words themselves, is why it mattered. Hamilton rarely telegraphs upgrades. Across 2 decades in this sport, he has built a reputation for saying less than he knows, for guarding information the way a poker player guards a hand that's about to be played. So when he broke that pattern, even briefly, people noticed. He didn't say what is coming. He said innovations. One word, deliberately vague, deliberately loaded. A driver who has heard every kind of Ferrari promise before, some kept, many not, was choosing his words like he meant them this time. If the comment planted the question, the venue answered it before anyone had to ask twice. Because 2 weeks later, the calendar delivers Hamilton to the one circuit on the entire schedule that has never once turned against him. The numbers alone tell part of the story. 8 Hungarian Grand Prix wins, no other current driver with more than 2. But statistics only capture the shape of dominance, not its texture. The Hungaroring is tight, technical, low on drag, a circuit some have called Monaco without the barriers, a place where precision matters more than horsepower, where a driver's feel for the car counts for more than what's under the hood. And this isn't just a stat. It's a track where Hamilton has won from pole in the pit lane, in dominant cars and hopeless ones. That range is the point. This is not a circuit where Hamilton merely performs well. It is a circuit where he has found a way to win regardless of what he was given to work with. So the question forms naturally. Is this Hamilton returning to his personal fortress at the exact moment Ferrari needs him to? To understand why Hungary carries so much weight, you have to go back one race, to Spa, and to a performance that shouldn't have been possible on paper. The SF26 arrived at a power Hungary, high-speed layout carrying a known weakness, a power unit deficit that has cost Ferrari time all season on tracks built for straight-line speed. And yet the car led, leading until lap 34. Exceeding internal expectations despite Ferrari's known power deficit. That result wasn't just a highlight. It was a data set. Team principal Fred Vasseur confirmed as much, stating that the information gathered that weekend would carry forward. That data gathered at Spa will pay off in Budapest. On the surface, that seems like an odd claim. Spa is fast and open. Hungary is slow and claustrophobic. But the connection isn't about corner speed. It's about setup philosophy, about how the car deploys its hybrid energy under load, about how the tires behave under hard, repeated braking. Those are transferable lessons, even between tracks that look nothing alike. Which raises the real question hanging over this weekend. If a car that shouldn't have competed at Spa's demanding layout still led the race, what happens when that same car reaches a circuit built for its actual strengths? That circuit, in granular terms, is a study in contrast to everything Ferrari struggled with over the last month. The Hungaroring measures 4.381 kilometers, and its identity is built almost entirely around low and medium speed corners, with only one real high-speed moment at turn 4 breaking up an otherwise relentless sequence of tight, technical sections. For a car fighting a power deficit, this is close to ideal. The very characteristic that punished Ferrari at Spa, at Silverstone, and at Austria, raw straight-line power, barely factors into a lap here. Instead, the layout rewards mechanical grip, chassis balance, and precision through direction changes, all traits that play to the SF26's known strengths rather than its known weaknesses. There's a second layer to this too. The sheer density of braking zones across the lap creates far more opportunities for hybrid energy harvesting than almost anywhere else on the calendar, turning a potential disadvantage into a source of recovered performance. Put simply, for one weekend, Ferrari's chassis quality, not its power unit, decides the result. Which brings the conversation back to that single word from the cool-down zone. Innovations. Because it's worth being precise about what it does not mean. It is not the next major aerodynamic package, which is aimed at a later point on the calendar. It is not the next engine token, which is earmarked for Monza. Both of those upgrades exist, both are real, and neither is what Hamilton was referring to. The actual answer is quieter, and in some ways more interesting. It's accumulated setup intelligence, deployment maps, sprint weekend learnings, balance data, refined and pointed at Budapest. This isn't a new part bolted onto the car. It's knowledge, distilled from every session at Spa and shaped specifically for what Hungary demands. That kind of preparation doesn't show up in a livery reveal or a press release. It shows up in lap times. And it's far harder for rivals to see coming, let alone copy, because there's nothing physical to photograph in the garage. None of this matters in a vacuum, though. It matters because of where Hamilton actually stands in the championship. Hamilton trails the championship leader by 45 points, with Hungary as the last race before the summer break. That timing transforms this from an important weekend into a mandatory one. Consider the scenarios. A win paired with a DNF for the championship leader collapses the gap in a single afternoon. A win paired with the leader finishing second still chips away meaningfully. A leader finishing off the podium entirely, regardless of what Hamilton does, reshapes the table on its own. Every version of this weekend changes the number attached to his name, some dramatically, some incrementally, but none of them leave it untouched. And there is no immediate second chance to correct course. Whatever happens here gets frozen for 3 weeks. The summer break doesn't offer a makeup race. It offers silence and time for whatever result comes out of Hungary to sit, unchallenged, in the standings. But this isn't a two-horse story, and treating it as one would ignore two very real threats arriving at the Hungaroring with their own claims on the weekend. McLaren shows up as back-to-back Hungarian winners, and they aren't arriving quietly. A major upgrade of their own lands with them, aimed at extending that run rather than breaking it. Behind them, Aston Martin brings its own card to play. The AMR26 Evolution, a homologated, crash-tested update landing at the exact circuit its characteristics were designed for. That's not a coincidence of timing. That's a team building toward this specific layout. Which means this is not a clean fight between Ferrari and a single rival. It's a 3-way, potentially 4-way contest, unfolding at a circuit famous for being nearly impossible to overtake on. On a track like that, qualifying stops being preparation and becomes the actual battlefield. Lap 1 becomes the moment where track position gets decided for the next 2 hours, because there may be no second opportunity to take it back. Strip away the numbers, the upgrades, and the rival teams for a moment, and what's left is simpler. A driver, at this stage of his Ferrari chapter, walking into the one track that has never let him down. That fact carries its own weight, separate from points and predictions. The SF26 gives him a platform that, for the first time this season, is genuinely suited to the demands in front of it. Hungary gives him a history that no current rival can match. And the championship gives him a reason that needs no further explanation. 3 factors, arriving at the same place, at the same time, on a calendar that offers no room to wait for a better moment. The car is ready. The circuit favors him more than any other left on the calendar. And the numbers are honest about what's at stake before 3 silent weeks set in. Whether this becomes the weekend Ferrari's title fight turns real, or another near miss the season carries forward, will be decided on a track that has always seemed to know Lewis Hamilton's name. If this story matters to you, stay close for what happens next. Every subscriber here is part of building something that follows this fight all the way to the end.